Hey guys, what's up? So I've been compiling a lot of stuff using mostly OEM manuals to calculate the gear reduction on a bunch of different bikes that I think are relevant to mudding, and I put them all into a chart, which is pretty nice. So this is the chart. Give you a quick demonstration of how to read it, and I'm going to try to keep my opinion about some of these vehicles out of it to keep it short. So this is the most relevant chart because it's the actual gear ratios. It doesn't include the CVT belt ratios, and there's three reasons why those aren't relevant, and that's because you have no control over that ratio, so you don't really know where your belt's engaging at. Um, Also, the fact that everyone puts aftermarket clutches on their bikes anyways and changes these ratios, and the fact that it's a pulley ratio, not a gear ratio, so it can slip. Most of these clutch types will slip before the engine bogs, which means it's not an actual gear reduction. So in this column, I don't include the belt ratio, which is a much more relevant thing to look at. So Rubicon, obviously no belts, low. The purpose-built mud bikes, obviously going to have very low ratios. What's interesting to me is that Sportsman 570 is not too far from them. It has really low gears, and it's like a $6,000 bike. Pretty interesting. Not a ton of horsepower, but pretty cool. And then Grizzly has the highest gears, right? The smaller the number, the higher the gear ratio, of course. That's revolutions of the crankshaft to revolutions of the wheel. Got it. This column over here includes the V-belt reduction factor, which means the reduction you get from your primary and secondary clutch. The only one of these that isn't 100% accurate is the Can-Am one because I don't know it. I measured a primary and secondary I have sitting around off my old Can-Am and got like a rough calculation, but if anyone knows the Can-Am V-belt reduction on a stock Can-Am, let me know. They're probably all similar. Um, and also the brute force on here, unrealistically high. They say it has a reduction factor of like 3.8 in the primary clutch, which doesn't make any sense because everyone else is only managing to get like 2.5 out of their clutch setup. So I don't know what Kawasaki's talking about, but interesting. This is horsepower times the final low ratio. That's not like a mathematical thing. It doesn't give you like torque or anything. Horsepower is torque with respect to time. Gear ratio is a torque multiplier, so you can't make any assumptions like that. But I've sorted all of these right by highest to lowest, so you can see that these two bikes by the scores are way out there, and everything else is pretty far behind. But see, the Grizzly is at the bottom of everything. Would not buy a Grizzly. Horsepower and gear reduction is a very relevant thing. That's what gives you the power, the ability to turn fast, big tires as the gears, and the horsepower makes the bike feel snappy and do wheelies and slide around and stuff. So these two things can tell you about everything you need to know about how your bike's going to turn tires and how it's going to accelerate. But these are crank numbers for horsepower, which doesn't mean a whole lot because by the time it gets to the wheels and goes through a belt and 19 gear reductions and 10 CV joints, you're going to lose a lot of power. So these are belt horsepower. So, take it with a grain of salt. We all know that the best bike here is the Rubicon. If I can turn off the screen capture program.